Morning, gang. Happy Wednesday and welcome to day 2 from San Quentin. Uh, so, yes, it is 6:30 in the morning here, whatever. Like I said last night, after we were done, I was done. So, was thinking the other day when I was out mowing the lawn, of all things, 3 hours back and forth, just plenty of time to think. And it got me to think about a follow up to what I was talking about of having a good pair of boots the other day, all right, on the other channel, of course. Now, in an SHTF situation, what are we going to do about the silent threats? Okay, I'm not talking about marauders coming over the hill or, armed gangs of Antifa or BLM or something like that just looking to raise hell. I'm talking about the ones that we don't even really pay attention to. And the reason I bring this up is I was thinking, as I'm mowing the lawn and it'd been raining on and off, so the grass had got higher. Well, the grass around here is weeds, but the stuff had got high, and I thought for a second, and you guys know my dogs, okay? Corgi, short, little, tiny legs. We say when the grass gets high, it's time to mow the lawn because we got belly scratchers in the yard. But it got me thinking. It's like, okay, as the grass got high, just remind myself, had I given them their flea and tick medication? Because obviously fleas and ticks are looking for higher grass, et cetera, et cetera. Which got me thinking, of course, to what happens in SHTF. Now, just as a simple thought here, all right, gas is going to be at a premium. If there's no electricity, if there's no gas stations, you're going to be probably using your gas for more important things like, a vehicle to haul wood, let's say, unless you've got, wood right there on your property that you can carry over, that's still a lot of work. And I mean, if you can load the back of a truck with a bunch of wood, you're fine. Or maybe using the chainsaw or something like that. You'd think it's like, all right, my lawnmower is not going to be a real effective use of gas. And of course, it's not like you're mowing your lawn for, aesthetic purposes. Oh, gee, I want to have a nice manicured, pretty yard or whatever it would be. I mean, sure, in good times, you'd keep your yard looking nice. But in an SHTF situation, that's hardly going to be a priority, okay? Getting dinner or staying warm might be a little bit more important. But the problem is that now opens up the door for critters, right? Fleas, ticks, okay, snakes, mice, anything of the sort that like that kind of high grass type areas. And you go, okay, big deal, I'll just avoid it. Well, but think about this. There are many times where I've walked outside and got a tick on me or something like that, especially if I'm out around the perimeter of my yard. Well, Lyme disease, we all know that one, and there's a whole bunch of other tick-borne diseases that you can get. So what are you going to do? Because now there is no doctor. Remember that. Or there's certainly no hospital, okay? You might have some sort of medical professional in your mag or access to one or whatever. But, what are they going to have in the way of medicines? So, there's something that you need to look at. Same thing with snakes, okay? Around me, we have rattlesnakes and we have cottonmouths. So, those are things you go, okay, do you have a snake bite kit? Do you know what to do in case of a snake bite? Because again, there is no hospital. And, snake bites obviously can be deadly. So you've got to be able to take care of something like that. Again, hence the reason we said the boots the other day, because I'd rather have a snake bite into the leather of a boot than into the cotton of a sock. So, talking about mice, okay, what diseases do mice bring around? I mean, if y'all know the story of the bubonic plague, that's from rats, okay? These are things to think about. How are you going to keep your living area clean of, something that you wouldn't think about? We've talked about on the other channel, of course, getting rid of your trash, okay? Keeping your trash away from your living area. We've talked about human waste. We'll just leave it that way, and where to put an outhouse or some sort of place for people to relieve themselves. That, again, is, downwind, that is, away from your water supply, away from your food supply, et cetera, okay? So we've discussed those things, but I thought about this. I'm going, okay, we've never talked about the basics of just keeping the perimeter clean. Now, I'll give you another point if those aren't important enough to think about. And you've all seen my property when I take the garden or on the garden tours and stuff. Okay. Obviously, I keep the yard mowed, but if you look at the next property over, you'll see how overgrown it is. Okay, got to get a bush hog out there to clean it if you want to. It doesn't take long for that to happen. I mean, my property, especially the lot that we bought next door, I mean, that's what it looked like last year until I had it bush hogged. And so now I've got to keep it, down so it doesn't get overgrown like that, because it will get overgrown like that in a matter of 6 months, and then all of a sudden I've got, 5 foot, 6 foot high bushes. I mean, because there's wild raspberries and God knows what in there. And I mean, those will all grow quickly. Now, here's the point. Not only will that type of area attract bugs and critters, but now it's also a place for those marauders you talked about to hide. You've now given up your field of vision to protect your area. And I mean, God knows we've all seen the movies, with these Marine snipers or whatever it is, dressed out in their ghillie suits, and all of a sudden they're 10 feet away from you. Now, I'm not expecting somebody to be that good, but, those guys are out there too, so that's possible. So, keeping your yard clean and your field of view good so that, you can see any enemy combatants coming at you is going to be very important, not only for that, but like I said, also for critters, bugs, snakes, whatever it would be. Again, this is all about safety, okay, about protecting yourself. And that is very important in prepping, but it's something that goes completely by the wayside. So my question then to you guys is, for those of you who live in an apartment, this is a moot point. But my question to those of you who live in the suburbs, live in the rural areas like I do, what is your plan? Are you going to push mow? I mean, it takes me 3 hours to mow my lawn with the tractor, okay? I'm certainly not going to run around with a push mower. That would take me days upon days, and, you'd need to have 5 people doing it, rotating in the middle of the summer with the heat, okay? So, my solution for this, and this will sound silly, is actually to have a stockpile of grass killer, okay? Grass is not going to be that important to me. So what do I need it for? So if I can just kill off everything, it's not a permanent solution, but it'll last me for, 6 months, a summer, and then I can do it the following year if I need be. But you need to come up with a solution for something like that, because you aren't going to be, like I said at the top, wasting fuel on something as mundane as mowing your lawn, because, I go through a couple of gallons of gas to mow my lawn. A couple of gallons of gas is a lot of chainsaw use, and at least for my truck, that's about 30 miles of driving. So just something to think about. Let me know if you guys got other suggestions, because I don't know. I mean, grass killer may not be the best one. You guys, I mean, can't buy goats, but that would be a solution. So, all right, guys, have a good one. Pinball out.